afternoon. We'll be discussing from where we stopped about safe online, the use of the internet, how to use the internet safely without leaving a negative footprint um, behind. Then some other factors we have to consider while using the internet. We also talked about the use of Wi-Fi the last time we had this webinar. We also talked about sensitive information. I'm just trying to bring our minds back to our previous webinar on safe use of the internet. And I'm glad having everyone back. I've seen a lot of familiar names here. So I would want us to start off from where we stopped. So here with us, we permit me to share my screen quickly with us. Give me a few minutes. Let me set this up. Okay. All right, please kindly give me a few minutes. Let me quickly set up one or two things. Um, all right, so sorry for that. Okay, so firstly, I want to share with us, as part of what we'll be talking about today, the use of password for our social media handles and other um, things we use on the internet. Our password, which is also one of the very important thing would want us to discuss. So, what is your password? Your password is simply that needed to have access to your social media account. They are also more like your security access pass to your social media. I'm sure every one of us um, have a password to our social media account, our Facebook, even to our WhatsApp. Sometimes, yes, we make use of certain passwords. It could be your fingerprint, it could be your PIN, it could be a PIN. Sometimes it could also be set of numbers needed to unlock that particular application before one can have access to it. So, why is this very important to have? So, imagine what will happen when someone who intends to harm you or probably cause damage to your social media account happen to get access to it. You can see it says a scammer, which in the local parlance is also known as a Yahoo boy, gets to know your PIN or your bank account. So that is one of the need or one of the reasons why we need the a password. Then we all want to avoid this, of course. So that is probably one of the reasons why the password is very, very important. So another thing we also want to discuss today is why do we need a strong password for our social media account? I hope everyone can hear me, please. I hope everyone can hear me. Please, I hope everyone can hear me.
We are hearing you. We are hearing you.
All right, all right. Thank you very much. So, why do we need a strong password? But before then, a password is weak if it contains certain characters that not
Can hear you loud and
that
clear.
is not fortified or that is not strong enough for our social media use. Um, a password is weak if only your name or your family member's name is what you have as your password. Sometimes, because our first name is Sunday, we decide to use Sunday Adeleke, for example. Use Sunday Adeleke as your password. Such a password is a weak one. Sometimes we go further using our date of birth as our password. Yes, a lot of times we are victims to that, especially when putting password or PIN on our ATM card. Okay, so such password is actually a weak one because a third party or anyone who has access to it can easily make guess of the password and probably just give it some time. He or she will be able to unlock, okay, or decode such password with time. So such a password is actually weak. Some people go further using their favorite club. Um, Example, you can see it on the board: Arsenal, Man City, as your password. Such password is actually a weak one. Okay, so some other ones use "I love you," like what you can see on the screen. A simple number, sometimes one to five, sometimes 1 to 6. Yes, sometimes we do that even on our ATM pins also. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Such password is a weak one. We go further using a default password provided by probably um, keyboard. Okay, so sometimes we use the QWERTY word as our password. It is usually short, less than 8 characters long. Yes, sometimes we use words that are less than 8 characters long. Okay, such password is very, very weak. Okay, so there is that need to create a strong or a stronger password that will last. In as much as we feel we are secured because there is password on our social media, don't forget that we have scammers, we have phishers who are working day and night to unlock these codes. So, class activity one, I would want your engagement tonight quickly. Um, how weak or strong is your password? Let's quickly grab our phones. I will just give us just 5 minutes to go through this. Please quickly grab your phone. Let's put our password to a test tonight. I would want you to make use of the chat box um, with the result you'll be getting from here. So you have to log into www.passwordmonster.com. Please quickly visit that site, passwordmonster.com. Yeah, so when that is done, a page will pop out and you'll be asked to input your password. The password you're actually using, you can use anyone, probably the one on your Facebook account. You can also try it there. Anyone, probably your Google account, you can also try it there. And that will actually tell you how strong or how weak your password is. So please, I'll be looking forward to your response on the chat box. I'll be looking forward to your chat box. Yeah, thank you very much, Alabi Bukun. Yes, it is also to prevent, to make it difficult for fraudsters, yes, to have access to your account. Please, I'm still looking forward to your response from what you've been able to get. No, I'm not asking of your WhatsApp number. What I am saying is, oh, very strong. All right, all right, okay, very strong, Mr. Adeoye. Thank you very much. I'm still looking forward to other people's response. Mr. Adeoye, thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Onikwede, very strong, very strong. Okay, Abubakar Mohammed, nice hearing from you. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. Please, I'm still waiting for other people's response. So you will also notice that right under where you have typed your password, it will tell you how weak and how strong it is, and then it will also give you the time at which hackers can actually have access to it. Okay, so practically for mine, I'm seeing I'm seeing 10 years on mine. Okay, I'm seeing 10 years. It will take an hacker 10 years to actually decode my. So um, I'm still looking forward to other people's response. Okay. Okay. Yes, I'm seeing some screenshots here. Yeah. Um, I'll need to squint to be able to see some of the responses. Very strong. Thank you very much, Mr. Taufik. Yeah, so there is that need to 62,000 years. I can see one. Yes, that's actually a very strong one. Yeah, 62,000 years. So that is 187 years, Mr. Nipede. Thank you very much. Mr. Labi, Isaac, yours is medium. Such very strong. Yes, of course, of course, of course. Mr. Labi, yes, you have to include a lot of things to ensure that your password is strong enough, for one to be able to gain access to it. There is that need to create a strong password. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate your participation on that. So let's move to the next one. So, recipe for a strong password. What are some of the things you need to ensure that your password is super strong? For one, to have access to, number one, your alphabet should contain letters. Okay, it shouldn't just be numbers, it should be letters. Then there should be a combination of the lowercase and the uppercase letters. Okay, as seen on the screen, on that other caption there by the right hand side of the screen. Okay, we have a capsma 123 at comma and hash. Okay, such password makes it difficult for hackers, fraudsters to gain access to your social media or to your other handles, probably for business and all that. So at least it must also contain numbers, um, and then at least it should be 8 to 12 character long. There is one I actually proposed to use. I doubt if that can even be broken for the next 1 million years. You know, though it will take time, it will take a very long time, but I doubt if such hackers will be able to have access to that. So there is that need to create a stronger um, password for your account. So what are the ways to protect your password? Number one, use password manager. Okay, password manager. You have your uh, Google Password Manager. Okay, this particular one helps you store passwords of all your social media handles or sites you visited and that requires passwords. Okay, so whichever time you need it, you can always go to that particular app, um, log on it, and then it will bring out all the password to each of those social media handles or sites you visited. Okay, we also have password one and LastPass. All these are password managers. They help you manage your password, save it um, for future purposes. Then another way is to change your password frequently. Okay, at least for your social media handles like your Facebook, um, Twitter, and other social media handles, you have to change your password to them occasionally. Okay, even if it is in the period of 2 years, there is that need to change that password, except if you know and you're very sure that your password is very strong. Okay, so another one is um, do not use the same password for many accounts. A lot of us do that. We have one password for Facebook, for Instagram, the same password for a lot of other social medias. Okay, so it shouldn't be so. We should have at least 2 or 3 different passwords in our mind for any of these social media handles we visit over time. Use multi-factor authentication, okay, and other verification um, uh, um, options we have, like the biometric. See, one of those apps I enjoy using a lot that gives me confidence that no matter what, um, no matter the time, or no matter the situation, my account is secured. Is I don't want to mention the name so they don't look as if I'm actually advertising them for free. So I noticed that before you can even log in, you are given the option of using a biometric, some prints before. There are some that even gives you the facial option, facial recognition option. Okay, so these are multi-factor authentication one can also use to protect his or her password. Then always update your software and application over time. I said it earlier, I said it before now that there are certain applications on our phones um, that have been outdated over time. We keep leaving them like that on our phones. Funny enough, they just take space on our phones. We don't even use them. Okay, such apps, there is need to get rid of them because over time they become virus, they become toxic to your phones. In as much as they have expired and the security feature of that particular app has expired also, virus and malwares can find their way through such applications. In fact, your antivirus can even become a virus to your phone. I'm sure that sounds funny. That virus on my laptop, virus on my I mean the antivirus on my laptop and on my phone. Yes, they can also become viruses to your phone over time. That is when if you don't update, you don't upgrade them as the month goes by. That is why even you notice even your WhatsApp will always call for an upgrade almost after every 4 months or 6 months. Okay, the reason for this is because special protective protection has been added. Other features have been added to make it useful, to make it more accessible, to make it more fun, and to also protect the user also. So when these things are not updated, they become toxic, and the malwares and viruses, like we all call them, will begin to have their way through these applications. So do not tell anybody your password. That is another one. Don't divulge sensitive information. We talked about sensitive information in our last webinar and the need to keep sensitive informations confidential. Likewise, your password. Just by the right side of your screen, you will see there it says social hacking or engineering. These are people who look forward to hacking your system, producing malwares, um, all methods they can to get into your phone. I was sharing with a colleague of mine recently. I just noticed a continual pop-up on my phone. In fact, even as I'm talking to you now, multimedia messages. In Nigeria, yeah, there was a time multimedia message was very common. So over time, it faded off, it fizzled out because of probably lack of awareness. So in recent times, messages on the phone in form of multimedia messages, and I wonder, I asked myself, even the phone is even telling me, is even responding that this phone does not have the facility excuse me, does not have the facility for multimedia messages. So where is multimedia message coming from? So some of the ways in which they try to lay siege to our phones, creating things on a daily to probably get into then cause dangers to your phone. All right, so the next one we'll be talking about today will be watch out for online scammers, how to look out for online scammers. Have you ever received a phone call from someone before who mentions your name and every other information about you, and later you discovered you don't even know the person? Okay, the person is actually a total stranger, but he or she claims to know you. Apart from that, we've also received calls telling you you've won something to claim it. You have to call so number. In fact, a lot of times they will tell you the president has palliative for you, and then you can call Mr. Engineer Rashid on so number. These are some of the ways they they are some of the tricks, gimmicks they put forward, to gullible Nigerians, to messages. Even received a text message from a number asking you to submit your BVN number. I'm going to quickly give three members, three participants the opportunity to share with us um, their experiences so far, if there is any. Personally, for me, I had experienced this before. I think it was one of those times I got my ATM newly, and someone just called and said he's from so bank, is their call center representative. Mr. Waka said, especially Mr. Johnson. So it claimed to be from a representative, and that someone was trying to have access to my account. Should it be blocked, or do I send them the? Should I send them my number so that they can block it and all that? Though it was just my first time using the ATM card, but I almost fell prey. So I would want one or two persons to also share their experiences, probably so that we can also learn from others. Okay, Mr. Bubakar, would you mind sharing with us? Would you mind sharing
Hello.
with
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Mr. Bubakar.
So I've experienced such in a different occasion.
Okay.
Particularly, there's a woman. You can see I used Mr. Johnson. That was the name that
Yes,
address
yes.
he had before me. He said I won a promo lotto from the Lacasera company. So if I want to, he mentioned my name, my date of birth, everything. In fact, my complete bank details.
Wow.
So the changing of the narration is that he was telling me that I won a promo at Lacasera company, so I should kindly register before I will claim my prize.
Your prize.
So
In
all of a
fact,
sudden we have a drama that they say I said like how much? You say if I will register with 20,000 now, I'll receive my gift of 150,000 now. So
okay.
okay, no problem. You can help me with 120,000. So when it's time for me to claim my prize, deduct your
Yes.
20,000
Yes.
from
And then send the rest.
150,000 and send it. They say
Yeah.
no, you are not serious about your gift. I said no problem. Okay, take 150 and give me 100. He said no. I said okay, take 100 and give me 50,000.
Hmm.
You guy, you are not serious. Okay, I'm serious.
Okay.
I'm can't just I
Mr.
can't just
Bubakar,
be a
see, that,
victim.
that is because you are already aware of that trick.
I'm aware, and if you are
Yes.
informed, you won't be deformed.
You are that's the word. Yes, because
That's
you, you
what
you were informed. Yes. So a lot of people
exactly.
are falling prey to such.
Exactly,
Personally,
exactly.
for me, a friend of mine who, a lot of people just want to japa, and they still believe that this lotto thing is still prominent, is still in circulation, is still working. And so he decided to visit the internet, where he met with a guy who claims to work in Germany in a farm, and
Exactly,
said,
exactly.
yeah, they'll tell you farmers are needed in Germany. If you're an African, it becomes easy
Exactly.
for you because they believe Africans are more hardworking. Okay, so
Hardworking
yes,
and family
so
oriented.
that's the word. So because of how naive he was asked to pay certain money to a doctor who would check, who will run a psychological test on him. The purpose of that site is to know if he or she will be able to fit into the environment and the farm work needed. So he paid how much? I think it was even in Bitcoin. Was it in Bitcoin or in one of those cryptocurrencies medium of transaction. He paid for that, and at the end, it was even a scam. It was even a scam. So a lot of people had fallen prey to all these online scammers, bringing in different schemes to defraud people. So that is the reason why we need to always be on the lookout for this kind of people. All right, so we move to the next on um, my slide today. It says, think about this. Why might malicious hackers, the people we call Yahoo boys, try to access your information online? What what are they looking for? Why would a website you are not logged into want to keep track of who you are? Can you list some examples of information that malicious hackers are looking for? Please, this is a question for us. Please, I will need your response. Can we list out some examples of information that malicious hackers are looking for? Do you know what a malware is and what it can do? Let's quickly get a response from us. The second to the last question there, can you list some examples of information? Yes, some examples of informations these scammers will be looking out for. Well, for me, we all know one or two of such information they are out there to get. One of such is, of course, your sensitive information, probably your BBN. If probably you've shared it with anyone, they sure have their ways of how to get these things. The moment they have access to your inbox, yes, request for OTP, one-time password. Thank you very much,
Comfort.
Mrs. Olabumi Comfort. I appreciate.
Olúbùnmi.
Okay, Olubumi Comfort. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, your bank PIN, of course, your bank PIN. A lot of times they want to get access. Yes, I've seen it here. Thank you very much, Miss Khadija Musa. By trying to gain access to your ATM number, you're right. Because most of these things, a lot of times we register our email addresses with our banks. And then a lot of times they send us messages also using our banks, I mean, our email. Yes, mobile app PIN. Thank you very much, Mr. Alabi Ibukun. Thank you very much. You're right. These are sensitive informations they need to extract sensitive data that is needed to cripple you. I was watching a movie recently. Um, a woman was just at the comfort of her sitting room, trying to shop online. All these foreigners, a lot of times they are used to window shopping. So some guys were just somewhere. Um, Unfortunately for her, she visited the wrong site. And the moment she logged into that site, it was shown on their own dashboard that somebody had logged in. In fact, they saw all the arrows where she was pointing the arrows to which items to buy. And the next thing they did was they sent a code to her. The code was just there on the screen. It was something like a pop-up she didn't know, and she clicked on it. Immediately the pop-up, she clicked on that pop-up, the screen, they made it in such a way that the screen, our laptop screen went down, went shut off. So when the lady looked at it, she was like, what is wrong with my laptop? And she didn't want to off it so that she doesn't leave that site where she was. Immediately, the screen came up again with another item telling her she should accept a particular term. Unknowing to her, the moment she accepted that term, the site went off and the laptop also went off. So she called the laptop center. It was more like a new laptop I think she bought. So she called their center and said, what's wrong with your laptop? Your laptop has gone off. I bought it newly. So unfortunately for her, these same people were still the people who sold that laptop to her. So that means that they produced a laptop, they infused or fixed in a malware that would monitor your transactions, monitor your work online, and then from there begin loophole into a system. You can imagine what they actually did. So what they did next was they just told her, sorry, you have to visit the shop, or would you want an upgrade of your software on your phone? She said she upgrade. Something will come up by the right side of your screen again. Click on it, and then you're graded automatically. And she did that, and that was the end of all her savings. They gained access to her pension because she was a pensioner. Gained access to her pension, gained access to her account. Some of those charity funds she was doing, they diverted all the money from there. And this thing rendered, in fact, she had stroke immediately and she died. So these are some of the schemes. These are some of the things they do to ensure that they cripple or they run people down, with their work. Then do you know what a malware is and what it can do? Okay, I've just quickly talked about what a malware is. Malware is those things we call virus. Okay, virus. These are codes. These are computer languages that are created to cause harm, okay, to your system. Sometimes they might not cause harm, they might just steal your information and then use that for ulterior motives. Sometimes they also steal your identity. A lot of times you think, I think it happened to one of these politicians recently who went to the US. And while he was trying to leave the US, they just told him, come on, um, we are having a duplicate of your biodata on our system. How come? How possible is that? Why are we having two identity, but from one person, whereas it's supposed to be one person, one identity? So, and the person was grounded for some time. Investigation was done, and it was discovered that his account was cloned because some people had his sensitive information, and before somebody's account will be cloned, that metrics. They've had your biometrics. So these are some of the things malware does: steal your sensitive information, pick them, clone accounts. They also cause damages to your system. Okay, so that is one of those things we also have to think about online. Okay, let's go to the next part, which talks about phishing. Okay, phishing is a type of cyber crime when it targets or targets are contacted through email and um, and other mediums. Like in my own case, it is multimedia message. They just want me to click on that link sent through the multimedia message. So these are examples of phishing. Sometimes they call, okay, or some acting as a reputable organization in order to trick people into disclosing sensitive information, including password, banking, account, credit card, your BVN, and the rest of that. Online scammers are malicious hackers. Okay, they use dating websites, social media platforms, Facebook, and all other parts of those things to get informations from you. Some get their target through employment scams by creating a fake website already. They create websites. um, Back in the days, there's this particular website that was so popular. You know, people visit those websites a lot, and it's called Alibaba. I don't know if it has stopped, but we are seeing now is actually a genuine one. One cannot say. So most of these websites are created um, as because because the moment you see these things, you would want to buy certain things that are very inviting. Sometimes they look cheap, so you just want to catch in on that um, low price or low prices on items, not knowing that you are about to give your information to a Yahoo. Okay, so those are some of the things they do to cause havoc to people's phones. So that is why we also need to be careful the kind of site we visit. All right, so the next one here says Mr. Olayinka's story. This happened in the year 2021. I unknowingly enrolled for enlistment into a Nigerian immigration service through a cloned website in 2021. Um, she was to pay 1,500 as a submission fee using an automated machine card, that's the ATM. She puts the bank details on the portal, and 4,000 was deducted. instead of instead of the 1,005, which was supposed to be the submission fee, you noticed a 4,000 naira deduction, and yet it didn't call to your attention that something is fishy. All right, so she made another attempt using a card. Probably she felt that particular one was not was not good enough. Probably network each and all that. The money would return. She was debited another 5,000 naira. Okay, still the application did not go through. She didn't know the job offer was fake because it looked real, but because I was desperate and wanted to get a job badly, so I had to believe, she said. So this is one out of many other experiences of people who had fallen prey to online fishers. If I let me even share this, some years ago, is it up to a year now or 2 years? My wife visited the site and she saw, I think it was even in Instagram. Yes, she saw a farm, and they said, yes, we keep poultry farms, and we also give room for investors, people who just want to invest. You understand? They'll tell you bring in so amount of money, then you'll be getting items from the farm on 2 months basis. At the end of 1 year, you will get back your money. You'll get, if you invest 30,000, you'll be getting items, probably 10% or probably 20% of your money every 2 months. Okay, so because she was naive and she wanted to go into business, so she decided to try it out. Though some people, I think, before now had been collecting money. Most of these things, they will wait until when the appropriate time comes. They will start well, so that it can convince other people. All right. So in our own case, it was just unfortunate. I think that probably that was when they felt there was need to fold up. And the moment she just deposited the money, and that was just the end of it. Okay, the site went down. The site went down, so the money was gone. She couldn't trace it. Already, we know that even our EFCC, Financial Crimes Commission, there is a benchmark for money they go after. The money is not up to probably 5 million. They don't have business with you. So that was just that. So
látẹ̀kan ní ìsìnṣẹ́ ìwà rí mọ́.
there is that need to be careful of where you invest your money, to also be careful of which site you visit. I've heard lots of stories about people who actually wanted to invest or probably needed employment, but unfortunately it was just a wrong site they visited. Okay, so there are some other ways we can use to spot online scammers. There are certain things, certain trail they would leave behind for one to be able to spot that no, this particular site is a trap for visitors. Thank you very much, Mr. Olatayo. Yes, it is called River. Yes, you're right. Oh, so sorry, sir. See, these are things we are talking about. We're so sorry. A lot of those kind of sites, these things are done by fishers. They are done by fraudsters. They lay siege, waiting for innocent people to just invest their money, and that is the end. So number one way to identify them is they post like they are from someone you know, sometimes colleague, family member, government. I'm sure out of uh, 80% of participants tonight have experienced this. They will call you, they will form familiar with you. Come on, how are you? Hope you're good. It's been a long, you not try. In fact, I'm hungry with you because you never cared to call me back. After so many years, you never heard from me and you never cared to call. They will sound very convincing, sound very convincing. So a lot of times they leave you thinking, who is really this person? Who is this person calling? It's part of their gimmicks. They leave you to wonder who they are while they go on to carry out their wicked intention. So you have to be alert. You have to be at alert. They try to gain your trust. They try to gain your trust. Let me share this experience of what happened to a family friend of mine. Um, this man has three daughters. The first daughter happened to be an adopted child, probably from a close relative. So she's the eldest in the house. I think at the moment she should be in her SS2 class. Yes. So the wife is busy. She works in Ireland, while they stay at the suburb, Lagos suburb, the boundary between Lagos and Ogun State. So hardly she has that time because she will have to come home late, and then this other bigger girl will have to take care of the younger daughter in the house. So one of those days, they felt okay. There was need to give her a phone so that they can always communicate. She was given a phone, a browsable phone. She used the phone because, yes, once in a while, she was having free Wi-Fi in the house. So the young girl decided to create uh, Facebook without the knowledge of the parents. She created the account and then she started browsing with that. Of course, she met some new guys online. Uh, it was on her birthday, in one of those times when she was called by one of the friends, one of the guys online, telling her they have a free gift for her. I think the conversation changed, into relationship. It never occurred to them that something was going on with this girl just on the side, because the mother, supposed mother, had no time. She was very busy. So one of those days, they noticed a call. The father noticed a call because he's the software developer. So she noticed the call on this girl's phone, and the way she responded to the call showed that something was suspicious. She He went to the girl without the mother's notice now, because according to the girl, when she started confessing later, according to her, the mom threatened that I must not see you with any guy or with any man. Whereas she was supposed to draw this girl closer to herself and probably ask some sensitive question. So this man took the role of the woman in the house, sat the girl down, and started asking her certain questions. Has any man told you I love you before? And she said, yes. Okay. And he said, who is this guy? He said, daddy, I cannot say. It's okay. Can you trust me? Are you scared? And she said, yes, because if I tell you, you will tell mommy, and mommy will kill me. By the day, she was able to gain, I mean, he was able to gain her trust. So she confided in the man and decided to divulge every information to the man. Unfortunately, even before now, some money had been missing in that house. That was from this girl. Why? Because the online boyfriend had started requesting for money. In fact, when they asked, they were already dating online for 3 months already. They started doing video calls. This thing is just to gain our trust, and then strike. That was just it. I think the only thing that would have remained there was to tell the girl, can you get daddy or mommy's ATM card? Can you send this pin to me? Do you have daddy's phone there with you? Because that would be the next thing. They will send an OTP to that number, and when the OTP is called out, the rest is history. Okay, so these are some of the ways they get their prey. They gain your trust. They will make sure you trust them. They will talk very convincing. Some will even pray for you. They will pray. They will act as pastors. So there is that need to be at alert. They will say things to you to get you emotional. If you don't do this, you may lose this opportunity to make this. This is a lifetime opportunity for you to make some money, to be rich. They will raise your psyche. They will just say something to make you want to go gaga, to drop in every bit of money you have. Another way is they will ask you to act now by clicking link, log into an account or website. They will use phrase like act now, or we take over your house. That is after when they have gotten certain sensitive informations about you. That is when they begin to send those threats, because those ones are already threats. They've gotten what they want, and then you must act. So those are some of the things you have to know, that these ones are actually fraudsters. They ask for personal informations like your BVN and your PIN. Okay, overpays you and asks for a refund. I've heard that severally. In fact, this one um, they will send you a recharge card, a recharge PIN. Okay, and the next one you will hear someone call you to tell you, oh please, this was actually a mistake from Baba. Baba, this card is actually for Baba. Baba needed to load his phone. Please, can you send it back? Can you send it back? If you have not loaded, can you send it back? So in your subconscious, you would feel, oh, this is the right thing to do. You would send it
Yes,
back to them.
exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Uh-huh. So the next thing they'll tell you, Baba wants to pray for you. These are
In
these
Yoruba
are
too.
these
Ẹ
are
kú iṣẹ́
their
ọmọ
gimmicks.
mi o.
These
Ìyẹn
are their
pàtàkì
gimmicks.
ní ẹ o.
Yes.
That's the
So
intonation.
so you have to be at alert. They also promise something that sounds too good to be true. Okay. Promo offering you 90 to 95% profit. Offer something that you may want or need at a time. So when you see these things, something should strike, something should tell you that there should be a nudge that something is wrong with this transaction or this communication with this person. Okay. So sometimes they send you a text, dear customer, due to BVN validation, in compliance with BVN, blah, blah, blah. So that should raise a signal that this is scam or this is a fraudster, this is a work of a fraudster. Okay, let's take a look at some ways we can go about them when they come like that. Some of the things we need to do to ensure that we don't fall prey to these ones. Number one, do not click links in emails or texts. If you must ensure the website link has S at the end of the HTTP, okay, which stands for secured. Also, SSL or TLS. Okay, these are names for technology that keeps HTTPS secured. Now, let me quickly explain this because a lot of times people will tell you, okay, look out for sites that have HTTPS. Okay, the S there stands for encryption. Okay, it stands for encryption, which also means secured. Now, it also does not mean that it is totally secured. Okay, so that you don't get me wrong. When probably you visit a site and you see HTTPS, okay, and probably something happens, something bad happens at the long run. Now, it is like this. That particular HTTPS tells you that there is a domain, there is someone who had actually created that particular site, and he alone has the password. He alone, he is the only person who has the password or the access to that back end, to the back end of that particular site. So there is no other person, only one person, only him alone has, okay, apart from the owner of that site. He also has an access. So when we talk about security here, it is not also 100%, but it is 99, it is 98% secured. The remaining two now is left for the other person who actually created that site and made all the features available on that site. So we also have to be on the lookout for sites that have the HTTPS. Okay. All right. So watch out for words that are not spelled well. Sometimes you visit certain sites and then you see some grammatical errors or probably from some typos. That should raise a signal that this site is not legit. Okay, so do not log into accounts from a text or email. That is why when the source of an email is not known, I don't click on it. Okay, I don't click on it. A lot of time, if they don't get you on the site, they can get you through your email. Okay, yeah, because you've dropped your password, um, you've dropped your email, they will follow it up through your email. Okay, so we also have to be on the lookout for the source. Do not call an unknown number from a text or email. Don't call that Mr. Johnson, Engineer Johnson. So that is another way. Don't share personal and sensitive information online, like your BVN, your ATM card details, like CVV. So the CVV is actually a number at the back of your of your ATM card. It's an additional security feature, okay, on your ATM card. There is that need to be on the lookout. So quickly, before we extend our time, let's take a look at another aspect I would want us to also be on the lookout for, which is fake news. Fake news. It has become rampant that we live in a world where everything flies on the internet, okay, and everything that comes, we just pick them up and we do what we call garbage in, garbage out. What comes in is what we take into, what comes out is what we take into our body, and then we just feel it is safe. So there is need to spot or to be on the lookout also for fake news. Remember that this purpose of this webinar is to enlighten us, is to open our eyes to spotting certain dangers that is associated with the use of the internet, how to use the internet safely without leaving a negative footprint or probably getting hurt or hurting others also. And then, in as much as we live in a digital age, there is that need to also sensitize our or guard, safeguard our mental uh, uh, capability, the things we take into our reservoir of knowledge. Okay, not everything is needed. There are certain things we need to unlearn. There are certain things we need to guard against, certain informations that are not necessary for us. All right, so let me go to the first one here. Okay, so let's think about this for once. Have you ever shared or forwarded something to someone else before? Have you or a trending news, a Facebook page, or from a WhatsApp message? I think we all fall into this category where we see a message and we quickly forward it. You know, we forward it. We feel, oh, let me be a medium of information to other people. So you decide to forward those informations also to the public or for more or to the wider audience. So there is that need to verify and check if such information is genuine. Janet receives a WhatsApp chat from her friends who resides very close to her that adding salt to prevent contacting Ebola virus. Janet was so happy about this discovery. She rushes to share this information with her family and friends. How many of us here are like Janet? I, who is like Janet? A practical example. In fact, when when I was preparing for this webinar, that video or that scenario, flashed through my mind when I remembered, and I just smiled how um, at how gullible our minds, you know, could be at times, especially when we get information we feel is valid. Some informations are not valid. It is not everything you get you digest. Okay, so let me share. I was in a particular state then, I think in Uyo, and I was preparing for then I think I was still into my second degree program in the University of Uyo then. I happened to stay with this family who were more like, yeah, my foster parents also. Unfortunately, it was that time when we heard this story about Ebola virus pandemic in Nigeria. Yes, so everyone became very scared, and a lot of stories kept flying around the internet that yes, you need to drink warm water with salt to to fortify yourself against any Ebola virus that might come. So this woman in the house, who happened to be more like my foster parents then, took it very serious. In fact, that morning, immediately after the devotion in the morning, including her husband. So everyone stayed put. She went into the kitchen. 5 minutes later, she came out with some warm water, and she, right in front of us, she had to mix salt inside the warm water and stirred it very oh, ignorant. So to cut the long story short, she shared the fortified item, warm water with salt, so that we don't contact Ebola virus. I understood our intentions then was to protect our family and everyone that is connected with the family. But unfortunately, that story was a fake one, and we really faced the consequence. Yes, I think the only person who didn't take that concoction was the husband, who directly shunned the drink, But we, the children, we had no option, so we took it. And guess what? We all had stomach ache. Every one of us in that house, we had stomach ache. In fact, it was not good. So you can see the results of fake information. It was even later, it was debunked that, oh no, don't do that. It was toxic to your system. It will never prevent you from contacting Ebola virus. So, but already the damage was done, okay, because we all took it, and we, so that could be one of the results of fake information. That information was not verified, and we, because we were too young, okay, to be able to know what was right and what was wrong, we just went with what came out of the internet. So fake news, what is fake news? Fake news is a term used to describe fictional news stories, things that are fiction, things that are just fabricated. They are they are meant to mislead, to manipulate and deceive the audience through social media, news outlets, and other channels. Okay, that is fake news. Generally, how do we know when a news or when a story is fake? Number one, it is inaccurate. Um, it will never look real. Okay, because in as much as it is coming, it will always raise another question: why was it like this? Okay, a lot of times you see misleading headlines. In fact, that is even the one that annoys me the most. You see on some social media, they will tell you, oh, uh, uh, mal- outbreak of malaria. Outbreak of malaria. They can just tell you outbreak of malaria. Yes, there has been outbreak of malaria, but it's not something that should take headlines. Okay, this is Africa, and Africa is prone, to breeding mosquitoes that also uh, indirectly affect humans. So it shouldn't take headline news, because um, over time, when something is predominant in a particular place over time, it is no longer news anymore. It has become a norm. But you see some headline news, when they take it like this, they will tell you malaria kills 50 in Adamawa. Whereas if you check, that 50 in Adamawa were number of people who were affected by malaria within the last 5 years or within the last 10 years. Okay, the statistics of people who had died due to malaria probably for a period of 10 years. It shouldn't even take headline. We already know that already. Thank God for World Health Organization, who are also making sure that malaria is eradicated totally out of Africa, just the way um, this particular sickness was eradicated in Africa or in Nigeria. If I can remember, I will mention that name. It was actually predominant in the northern part of Nigeria. It was celebrated, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, that it has been eradicated totally in Nigeria. And I think Nigeria was even the last country that had um, such experience. So a lot of fake news also lack source. Sometimes if you want to check where is this news coming from, you can never pinpoint one credible source. Okay. Um, Fake news also is biased and sensationalized. It comes with the sensationalized language. Okay. It's outdated informations also. These are some characteristics of fake news. So there is that need to always verify certain informations we get online. Verification is investigating, okay, trying to find out whether such information is authentic, and from where is that information coming from. Is it something that would create unnecessary shock, fear, or anger? Always confirm every information before sending to others. Okay, so um, simple ways to identify fake news. Number one, you check the source, the person who writes it or sends it also is very, very important. Ask yourself, why has this story been written? Ask yourself again, why is this person sharing this news at this time? A lot of times, for we guys who are more into election, like today we have a do election, and because of how busy I was, I could not really follow up. Quite unlike me, trust me, I don't miss latest information when it comes to election. Okay, so we have to always fact check certain informations to be sure that this information is credible, is valid enough for us to take. Ask yourself, who else also is reporting the story? That is another way to check, to investigate certain news. Ask yourself, does it sound right? Check online if something truly happened. Check the pictures if it is real, and then watch out for false headlines, because we usually experience or see this. A lot of people come up with false headlines. Okay, in recent times there are certain uh, news information sites I no longer follow. The moment I notice you're beginning to come up with certain headlines that are not necessary, I just unfollow them immediately, because there's not that need to keep my sanity intact. Okay, so we have to also ensure we verify informations before we share them to the public. So the next one there says cyberbullying and harassment. But before I go to that one, I'd wanted to talk something. I want to say something about um, this fake news, how to check if certain informations are correct. You have to also look out for credible social media outlets. Okay, we have a lot of them. You can also check online if there are certain statistics you cannot get in real time. You can check Dubawa. Dubawa is one of those platforms where you can check and fact check to be sure that this information is valid. Okay, we have Africa Check, we have Fact Check Nigeria, we also have BBC Reality Check. Okay, note that fake news can be based on events or facts, but presented in an inaccurate or misleading manner. Okay, let me say that again. Fake news can be based on true events. Actually happened, eh? Or fact, but presented in an inaccurate or misleading manner. Let me give you an example. So, a lot of times they could tell you, um, there's a fatal accident along Lagos Ibadan Road at, they will just mention a particular place along that road. If you can fact check, or probably you have an eyewitness account, you might notice that such accident never happened at that spot. Probably happened somewhere else, still along that road. So you can see that that story or that news was true, okay? But the manner at which the news was presented made it fake. That is another point we also have to take note of. A lot of times they can give you some selective presentations, sensationalized headlines that are misleading, okay? Sometimes they could also give you some confirmed biases. They, will, they could also give you true events, wrong location, accurate quotes taken out of context. We've heard that a lot these days, especially in the religious space. Okay. They can also give you real images. They will give you real images of someone from an headline, but a misleading caption. A misleading caption, probably using another person's face and giving it a caption that, oh, this person is who did this, whereas it was another person, and the identity of another person is what is used. So that is another fake news. That news is not true in its entirety. So there is that need to also ensure that we check very well to be sure that this news is correct. Sometimes they could tell you, okay, life expectancy in Nigeria is 50 years. It is no longer 50 years old. Nigeria is getting better. For those of us who are based in Lagos, they will tell you a typical Lagosian's life expectancy has reduced. If naturally in Nigeria is supposed to be 100%, because you're in Lagos, your life expectancy has reduced to 50. It has changed. Okay, so it is true actually, but it is not outrightly correct. It was outdated. That was an outdated information. So there is need to always check the latest information to get the true facts of every news. Right now, the life expectancy of a typical Nigerian now is 56%. Except God gives you the grace to live till 100 years. So we'll move to the next one, cyberbullying and harassment. Yes, this is one topic I love sharing, especially with our young ones in recent time. In fact, personally, I don't like when one is bullied, whether physically or in whichever form. Okay, so let me quickly. Have you ever sent comment like "you are a failure," "you are ugly," or probably just said something to someone to probably make the person feel bad, to hurt someone emotionally, to send fear into someone, okay, or you posted an embarrassing picture of anyone online, okay? So let's take a look at this. A story of a new intake in a company who is to be added to a team. The reactions of our fellow colleague is as shown in the comment section. So if you notice in the comment section there, one is calling, the other one says pot calling the kettle black, hypocrisy at its best. This is a joke. This is a joke grouped with what? Please put her in this group so that we can group her and groom her the right way. Okay, so what is this trying to portray in a nutshell? This is um, a bully, a direct bully, you know, in an organized way. Let me put it that way, in an organized way. Okay, so one got employment to an organization, but probably this person is taking the position of another person who I probably was sacked, and then is colleagues decide to show him or her their real colors, sending threats with bullish language and words, embarrassing words, insults, and all that. Okay, so this is a typical example of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is the use of technology to harass or threaten or embarrass another person. Okay, online threats and mean, aggressive, or rude texts, tweets, posts, or messages all count as cyberbullying. Okay, so they could also include, to an extent, a photo. Sometimes we are guilty of this. We do that a lot. Okay, photo, videos, messages, or pages that don't get taken down. Sometimes even after the person has been asked to take down those posts or pictures. This is cyber bullying and should be discouraged. Should be discouraged. Handling cyberbullying and harassment, don't fight back or join others to drag the person. There is need to always leave a positive footprint, a positive reputation, online reputation at every point in time. Shouldn't join the bandwagon, people who just want to also call names, harass, intimidate others online. We see that in our social media space in recent times, especially when tribes or politics is involved. There is need to restrain ourselves from cyberbullying. Reports using the report option on the social media application in question. Be an upstander. An upstander is someone who raise positively or rise positively for others who have been bullied. Yes. Okay. So there is that need to always be an upstander. Stand out, defend those who are perceived to be bullied online. Okay, so having said that much, I would want to leave some minutes for questions. Peradventure, you have one or two questions you would like to share, you would want to ask for wider clarifications, or probably you also have an observation of what you've noticed also in relation to what we have talked about tonight. I would just want to give our participants a few minutes to also share. Yes, the floor is open.
Can anyone hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. I can hear you.
Sorry, sir. Sir, the PowerPoint presentation you are making, it's, can we have it individually? Sorry.
Okay, I think the facilitator will give you information on that.
Thank you.
Yes, it should be available. Yes. All right. Any other question? Any other reaction to what we've talked about tonight? Okay. So, in the absence of any other question, I would want to thank everyone